All right, so thanks for letting me present to you today. I'm going to be running through the Sense Excel reporting product line, which is two things. Sense Excel, which is an add-on that runs directly inside of Excel, connects bidirectionally to your QlikSense application, and secondarily, it's Sense Excel reporting, which allows you to schedule, distribute, and automate report templates using your QlikSense server. Because it runs on the server as an extension, you reuse all of the QlikSense capabilities, and Sense Excel reporting was built on QlikSense from the ground up, as opposed to other alternatives that are out there in the market. So kind of the basis for our whole thing is, do you want to enhance your Excel experience and you want to be able to share your insights in Excel with others, but also, being involved in your QlikSense implementation. So, this is Sense Excel, as far as we're concerned, is the extension for QlikSense. We, like I mentioned before, we've got quite a good response at Connections for both sets of our product line, and definitely see a place in the market where we can add value to all the Qlik sales teams and any Qlik implementation. So Sense Excel is an add-in. It loads directly inside of Excel, and as you can see here, and you'll see more in the demo, it's going to look very familiar to you. Because it's a live connection back to your app, you have access to all of the Qlik capabilities, including connecting to your hub, creating a table on the fly, on-demand filters. The whole green, white, gray experience from Qlik is activated and live inside of Excel. The other thing that you'll see in the demo is we've got the ability to, within an Excel formula, have access to the full QlikSense syntax library, including set analysis. So you've got the ability to do cell-specific formulas using set analysis to create financial statements, financial and accounting type reports very, very quickly, and things that just are not easy to do in Sense by the nature of a web application. The other thing that you're going to see is within Sense Excel, you get the best of both worlds, of both QlikSense and of all the things that Excel does well. So the concept behind Sense Excel, again, is Sense Excel is just an alternate front end to QlikSense. So it's a seamless integration. You take full advantage of both products, both capabilities. You have access to everything. Because you're living in Excel, you have the ability to create, pixel perfect type reports, and you can format things as precise as Excel lets you, so you can make your reports look and feel exactly how you want. And for the client users, they don't need any additional server software. Again, it's just an add-on that runs inside of Excel and connects back to your QlikSense enterprise application. So the value proposition here, especially for Qlik sales teams, with Qlik kind of not embracing the Excel user historically, or kind of saying, hey, if you're going with Qlik, you want to leave Excel behind. We all know that in the BI world that's just not realistic. I mean, there's certain things that Excel is the best tool for the job, and there's certain users that just are never going to give it up. So we created Sense Excel to kind of fill that gap and augment the Sense offering to embrace those users instead of forcing them to do something they don't want to. But in competitive situations, you know that Microsoft and Tableau both have much better stories for Excel. And in my experience in the market talking to Qlik salespeople, I know that there's deals that they've either lost to one of those two vendors, or maybe departmental deals in finance and accounting that they might have chosen not to aggressively compete in, because the QlikSense's answer to do that type of operational reporting is not strong. So again, you've got a better way to compete. You want to go after profiles of users in departments like finance and accounting you might have not dealt with in the past. For operational, old school crystal style reports or financial statement type reports, Excel is a much easier way to create that. And we've also seen that folks that have either are deciding between QlikView and QlikSense, or have chosen to kind of slow roll their port to QlikSense, we've seen this be a catalyst to get people to make the move because they have the Excel integration that wasn't there even a year or two ago. So Sense Excel reporting basically uses the content that's created in the Sense Excel product. It resides as an extension on the Qlik Sense server, and then you're able to distribute content out to users inside and outside of the enterprise through a number of techniques. A file location, a network space, it could be put out onto a web portal. You could send things as an attachment on email, and you can also distribute via the Qlik Sense hub. But fundamentally, you're still using your Qlik data models, your Qlik Sense underlying enterprise application. You use the Excel add-in as the report authoring tool, and then you're able to push content out through a number of techniques to make content available to people. So with Sense Excel, you can create and distribute things on demand, which is one of the use cases I'll show you in the demo. So what that means is the user lives inside of Qlik Sense, makes their selections on filters, and then presses a button to output a report template based upon the relevant data. You also can automate and do things like report bursting, loop and reduce, and scheduling, but you're using the Qlik task scheduler to do that, because the way Sense Excel reporting works is running a scheduling job is just reloading a Qlik Sense application. Hence, you set up tasks to do that, and within the script of loading that application is where you determine the behavior that you want to take place. So again, since you're fully integrated with Qlik, you also have access to the full Qlik syntax library to do things like dynamically name your reports. You could do what we call a loop and reduce, where you would run the same report over values within a particular field. So that's how you would get data out to users based upon their profile, or each department head would get their own data. All of that's done using Qlik scripting and Qlik syntax to accomplish that. And then the behavior of how you want the content distributed, there's a number of ways that you specify that I'll show you in the demo in a minute. So for the value proposition here, 4 places that end printing has not worked out or has been a problem, or the rep just doesn't want to sell end printing, we've got a completely viable alternative for end printing. I know that I've had conversations with some Qlik sales reps that have had a bit of egg on their face dealing with support issues there, so this could be a chance to keep your customers happy. Because it's built on Sense from the ground up, getting it installed and maintained is much easier. I mean, it literally is Qlik Sense inside and out, and because it's fully integrated into your Sense application, you don't have to require a separate server like you might have to with in-printing. It all runs on your existing Qlik Sense implementation. So again, overall, the kind of key messages here, it's seamless integration between Excel and Sense. You've got the ability to make your reports look and feel however you want. You don't have to install any software on the server if you're just authoring reports. Because it's fully integrated with Sense, you have access to all of the security rules, roles, authorization strategies, as well as the Qlik task scheduler. And everything can be very specific based using Qlik scripting and Qlik syntax to determine the behavior of not only the reports that you create, but also the distribution jobs that you might put together. So we've got a number of clients in Europe. We're building the U.S. market right now. I've got a handful of customers already, but the big thing I've been working on for the past few months is signing up the Qlik partners. Since Aquanet is a German company and a German elite partner, they do not sell direct in the U.S., so we would have to have a partner involved in a deal to perform the business side of the transaction. But in North America, we've got, and I've got a couple that I need to add on here. So Bart Access Group, Solve, Crunch Data on the West Coast, SME down here in Florida, DI Squared out of Atlanta. So most of the familiar big partner names in the ecosystem are already authorized resellers, and we're constantly looking to recruit more to make sure that it's as easy as possible for the Qlik sales reps to do business with us and with their customers if a deal does come around. So here's the price list. So kind of in a nutshell, the top line Sense Excel base package. So that's the add-on product only, and we have a starter package that's around $4,000 US for perpetual plus 20% maintenance. Any additional named cows would be around $300 each. So if you're just doing Excel, your users want to live in Excel and create reports, but you're not doing any scheduling or distribution, you would need that base package plus a matching number of named licenses for the users that would use it. Since Excel reporting is the scheduling and distribution mechanism, there's two different flavors of that. The first one being Enterprise, which has unlimited jobs, unlimited report consumers, etc. And that includes 5 of the add-in, which is used for authoring templates. So you may or may not ever need to buy any more clients. If you have 5 users that would create templates for others, you might be able to survive on that. But you also can mix and match these things as you want. In the SMB space, we have a version that throttles based upon number of reports per hour, and that includes 1 author's license. So in a very small customer that wants to do rudimentary scheduling and has 1 power user that would create the templates, you could get by with that 11,400 perpetual. All of our products have subscription pricing as well, which is going to be, and I won't go into it specifically now, but it's a similar translation as most subscriptions. Kind of take the number, add maintenance, and divide it by 3. So going forward, we want to match, we want to make it as easy as possible to do business, so whatever type of deal is being put together, we're very flexible and very nimble to do that. There's one other flavor that's not on here that we have been known to do is if you have a customer with 500 or 1,000 QlikSense users and they wanted to make the add-on available to everybody, we're willing to price our add-in available to everybody as part of a deal like that, and we would do it as a percentage of the QlikSense license. So we've seen it go anywhere from 10 to 15% of the QlikSense license, and that would give you an unlimited one-to-one access for all of your users to choose to use the Excel interaction or not. But that's just something that we would do on a case-by-case basis. So that's the price list. This is my contact info. So my company is Strategy Point Solutions. I'm the master agent for Aquanet, so my job is to sign, enable, and make sure that all of the resellers in North America know the product technically, are able to do business, and certainly to socialize and make sure that not only our partner community but the Qlik sales community is aware that we exist and are here to help out in situations that we can help out. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to run through a quick demo of the QlikSense add-on using some demo data, and then I'll run through the scheduling and distribution mechanism. So what happens is you have an add-on, which just like any other Excel add-on is an XLL file that you click on and it loads in as an add-in. So once the add-in is loaded, you end up with another tool tab up here called QlikSense, and then you end up with this formula bar across the top of the screen. So I'll go through each one of these buttons quickly, and then I'll show you them in action. The first one is a connection string. Here's where you would tell where you want to connect to. You could connect to desktop if you have it, or pretty much any Qlik server as long as you have the proper URL to get you there. This is where you would specify where you're connecting. We also have the ability in here, depending on technical aspects of your implementation, we've got the ability to customize the behavior of our connection strings to mimic the security strategy at your customer. So there's when Qlik defaults to NT or Windows authentication, but if the customer is using another strategy, we've got ways to deal with that through these connection string definitions. The next one here is Open Hub, and I'm just going to show you this real quick now. So by clicking that button, I now have a live view into my hub that's associated with that connection string and based upon my login credentials. And we'll get back to that in a second. So the next button, and let me go ahead and open a hub real quick, and I'll show you this. So once you have a hub selected, let me sign in again. Sometimes this times out on me when I'm waiting to do a demo. So if you have the proper credentials, because we're connected live back to your QlikSense application, we're also connected live back to your QlikSense script. So from directly inside of Excel, you can edit or reload your QlikSense script, and this is also a capability that can be turned on or off. The next thing is creating a table. I'll show you that in a minute. And then again, since we are connected live back to your app, all of your bookmarks that are out there are available, and you'll see in a minute as you select a bookmark, all of the data in your workbook is going to update according to the bookmark selections, unless you have them specified using something like a $sign expansion to make it not behave based upon bookmarks. But again, this is all Qlik inside and out, so all the QlikSense behavior will shine through. Same thing here, selections tool. You've got the ability to have access to all of your dimensions as list boxes and make selections to create filters on the fly. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to run through a couple of quick examples of how this is used. So in a nutshell, there's two basic approaches to how Sense Excel works. One is what we call kind of an ad hoc table creation, where you go and you identify the columns that you want from your app and bring the data directly into the worksheet. The second one is within an Excel formula, you have the ability to use the Qlik syntax to use things like set parameters to specify the records that are going to come back within your cell. So the first one I'm going to show you is the ad hoc use case. So I've already opened my hub, so I'm now going to use this table creation button here. And the first option that we have, and this is something that just became new in this release, is the idea of this table creation window, which looks and feels exactly like Sense. But because we're connecting right back, if you have any objects of data that are stored in your app, we can bring that data directly into Excel through one click of a button. You also, once the data is in here, you've got the ability to do things like reorder or do a custom sort, all using the kind of familiar way of working with things that you do in Qlik. You also have the ability, if we go back to my data button here, to do things like change a formula, or within your measures, you can do your formatting before you bring the data back. And you also, through this add-on tab, you've got the ability to turn off zero values. So again, this look and feel is going to be very familiar because, again, the way it works is the same way as it does when you're creating a sheet within a QlikSense app. So that was kind of first use case, which is a quick and dirty import of an existing object underlying data from your Sense worksheet. The second one I'm going to do is I'm going to create a table on the fly. So now I'm going to go and use this add column interaction, and I'm going to show you a couple of quick examples. So the first one I'm going to do is product group, and I'm going to add a measure, which is revenue. And again, you have the search box, and all your measures will come back according to your search box. Again, behavior that you would expect from working with QlikSense. So I've now pulled over a dimension and a measure. I checked the box, and it's now going to bring in live data back to Qlik. Once this data is in, back to Excel. Once this data is in here, so you can do everything that Excel does. So let's say I just want to do a quick and dirty chart. So now, not only is this table live, but so is this chart that's associated with it. Again, since we're going back to Qlik Live, you've got the ability to do things like apply a bookmark. So as I apply a bookmark, my filter selections associated with that bookmark are going to go up in this filter bar, and you have the ability to interact with things just like you would inside of Sense. You also have the ability to go do a filter from here using the search box. So by typing in the term region, it's going to bring back only the dimension that has anything relevant, which we happen to have one called region. I pick one here, I back out, and now that filter is going to be showing in the filter bar. And again, all of my data in my report is going to update accordingly. So that's kind of use case number 2, which is an ad hoc query of the data itself, bringing the data into Excel and then doing with it what you want. So one more example of that use case I'm going to show you, just to show you how well we integrate with Excel, is I'm going to do year, quarter, and revenue. And then check the box, and it'll bring the data over. So this is a real simple table with one measure and two dimensions, but since this data, again, is live inside of Excel, I can very easily create a pivot table in Excel. So there's my range that was selected by default. I'm going to park my pivot table inside of my existing worksheet, and now, and I can get rid of this table selector, now I've got the ability to use out. I don't want sum of year. Let's do quarter, and let's do revenue down here. So now it's an Excel pivot table, and I can have all the functions that Excel pivot tables do because, again, the data is live, but also, again, since we're connected directly back to Sense, my pivot tables and all of my tables are going to update based upon any filters that I select that are going to be applied universally to the data in my worksheet. There's a couple of ways, much like you would do in Qlik, where if you don't want your data to respond to filters, you could use things like $ expansions, but you also you can also use other techniques that would make things not respond. So within one formula, for example, you have the ability to specify more than one app. So one cell could be from your default application, the other one could be from a second application, and that would give you the ability with one Excel workbook to bring in data from multiple QVFs at the same time. So those are the kind of quick and dirty versions of the ad hoc or table creation method that we have inside of Sense Excel. So the third one, which is the most powerful in my opinion, is the ability to create financial style reports, but within the cell of each individual cell of your worksheet here, you've got the ability using this formula called SenseEV to access all of the Qlik formula syntax. So within this formula, we've got quite a few things going on, but I'll paraphrase. This is basically sum of quantity times price, which is revenue, where product group description equals a set parameter and fiscal quarter equals another set parameter. The nice thing about doing this in Excel is you've got the ability to use an Excel cell reference to pass your parameter values to a Qlik set expression. So this formula here could be created once, but then you can do a fill down or a fill over to rapidly recreate your report. So what I did here is product group description equals cell B7. I filled that down. So deli is now the value all the way down to row 12, and you'll notice all of my numbers updated accordingly because we're passing a different set parameter value back to Qlik and instantly updating the revenue, the sum of revenue based upon those set selections. The other thing that's going on in this formula, and like I said, we've got a lot of functionality crammed in here, not only can we use an Excel formula reference to pass a set parameter, but we also can use Excel formula syntax to make things behave a certain way. So in this case, fiscal quarter equals, this substitute function is in essence from cell C5 where it says Q1 here, it's pulling the Q off of it and only passing the number 1 back as the fiscal quarter set parameter. So because that's taking place, if I were to change my header to Q2 here, you'll notice that all of my data changes to Q2. And it now matches all of the columns next to it. So anyway, so this is very powerful when you are trying to create, old school financial reports. You create these formulas one time, you get the syntax down, you cannibalize it from other places, including from your Qlik Sense app, and then you again can copy and paste and fill down and fill across very, very quickly to replicate your report. So this report that I've been demoing so far is also the basis or the report template that I'm going to show you for my scheduling and distribution offering here in a second. So this report has a title page, which is by year, and then it's showing there's a Qlik formula in here that's basically doing a distinct region based upon filter selections. We've got an infographic for tab number 2. We've got a summary dashboard, which again, these are based upon Qlik calculations, but then you're using the Excel charting and visualizations to represent the data that comes back from Qlik using these formulas in a certain way, this being the summary sheet, this being the detail sheet. So one of the other things that you get when you install our add-in is this concept of a sheet loop. So within this capability, we're basically saying that the segment field is going to be dynamic. So when we run this job, it's going to loop over this detail sheet and create an individual tab for each segment that makes it up. So just kind of keep that in mind as I go through and jump into the reporting piece. So anyway, that's the end of the client, the Sense Excel client piece for users that want to live and breathe inside of Excel, that want to have full bidirectional connectivity with Sense, and to create certain types of reporting use cases that Excel is probably the best job, likely the best tool for the job because of its formatting flexibility and the ability to copy and paste down and whatnot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump over into the reporting and distribution product. So Sense Excel runs as an add-on inside of Excel on your client machine. The Sense Excel reporting module runs as an extension inside of your QMC. It's loaded as an extension, and then you are reusing all of the power of the Qlik Sense engine. So Sense Excel reporting has two main use cases. The first one is this idea of on-demand. So users going to live inside of Qlik Sense, and navigate their app according to, however they want. So let me just go make a selection up here. So I'm going to pick Africa as my region. And you'll notice when I pick Africa, there's one corresponding segment in the Africa space. This widget here, Generate a Report, this is the Sense Excel reporting piece. So when I press this button, based upon my selections, it's now going to generate that report template that I showed you a minute ago in the authoring mode, and it's going to output it based upon a selection I made to PDF and download it immediately. These are all selections that are made at runtime, and I'll show you those in a minute. So this report, remember, there's our cover page. It's only Africa because we only picked one region. There's my already infographic again. There's my summary dashboard. And then down here is the detail sheet. And you remember we looped over the segment field, and Africa only had one corresponding segment, which was supermarkets. So what I'm going to do now is go back, and this time I'm going to show you a couple of things that we would set up. These are just options that are part of our thing. So by selecting, going into Edit my Qlik Sense app and choosing my box here, I've got the ability to choose how my on-demand is going to behave. So any of our templates can be uploaded and become part of the application that you're working with, but they also can be put out into the QMC as part of a content library. So in this case, though, we're just using the default in-app capability. The content is an Excel workbook, executive-dashboard.xlsx, which is the same file that we were working with over here. The output format the last time was PDF, so this time I'm going to choose Excel as the output format, and I'm going to leave this direct download capability on, but I'm also going to change this thing here to selection over shared session. So what that does is it allows you to watch in an animated fashion the engine run through and create the report and loop through the segments as we determined, and you'll see it happening live on the screen. So in this case, I'm going to choose Americas as my region, and the corresponding number of segments is now, there's now 3 of them: convenience stores, hotels, clubs, and supermarkets. Check my box, click my Generate Report, and it's now going to, this job is now running on the Qlik Sense server. It's now populating that report template, and it's running through each segment, and you can see it dynamically doing it on the fly. And you see it, you can see the engine running through it. It's picking through each bookmark for each region. And in this case, I told it to output to Excel. There it is. Whoops. There we go. So in this case, though, the output is not live connected back to Qlik. This is now static content and values. But again, here's my title page. We chose Americas as the region. This title is dynamic. my infographic, my summary dashboard, but now we have an individual detail page for each segment because that's the behavior we specified in that sheep loop function I showed you earlier. So here we've got convenience stores, hotels and clubs, and supermarkets. So this use case should be pretty interesting to QlikSense users and licensed QlikSense users. You can give them the ability to output operational reports while living inside of QlikSense itself. And many of the users that need this type of interaction may never need to use the Excel client at all. All they want is some old school crystal style report output based upon data that's residing within QlikSense and populated based upon selections that they make in that interactivity. So that's the on-demand use case right there. So the last use case I'm going to show you on our reporting module, I'm going to go back to the hub, and we mentioned the on-demand thing, which is running inside of the Executive Dashboard app, but we also have the idea of a scheduling and distribution job. So this behavior is all specified within a QlikSense script. And this is an app, with parameters that are set inside your script. So, and I'll run you through real quickly what's being specified here. So the app ID, this is the Executive Dashboard app that we're going to run this job on. My input is the Executive Dashboard XLS template, which is specified by 3 bars here that it's associated with this app itself. But you could also point to a file location or any other Qlik library that you can determine. The output, basically, it's putting a title on here that's saying report for only the region for basically the most recent year, but it's dynamically going to name the report. This is all Qlik syntax in here. The selections that we make, we're going to do it over fiscal year. Again, we're just trying to get the most recent data here. So over fiscal year, it's static, but over region, we're going to do it dynamically. So when we run a job, it's going to populate this report. It's going to create a unique report named dynamically based upon this statement, and then one for each region that's within the data. Once you've specified this behavior, you also could distribute via a mail server, and this is just an example of a cover letter and where you would set up your mail server behavior. And then 2 other options. One is when you run a job, will it upload to the Qlik Hub? So back in the Qlik Hub, when you are using our products, reports are placed in this new reports tab. So you've got an on-demand report, which is the one we ran earlier, and then these reports here, report region for Africa, Americas, etc., these were run the last time I executed the job. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to execute this job again, and it will basically overwrite those reports in the hub. The last option is where you would run the job and you would park the content out in a file location. So I've got a connection statement here that points to a subdirectory on my machine. So now I'm going to go through and load the data. The reason this is important is when I go out and load this data, what it's doing is it's just executing a Qlik script and performing the actions that I just determined. But what makes that interesting is because any job that you're running is just the execution of a Qlik app, that's what gives you the ability to go use the Qlik scheduler, and the operation to create a scheduling job is to just create a new task inside of your QlikSense application. We're going to choose the app, so we're going to use the reporting task demo app that I just was working with. And because that's all we're doing, we've got the ability to create and do triggers based upon time or any other condition in a report. So let me just do a new hourly trigger. And now I can go in and I can edit it to behave however I want. So we've covered a lot in here, but you can specify the behavior. The loop and reduce concept is how you would distribute content to a specific user or a specific group. The Qlik task scheduler is how you would create, you would run your scheduled jobs. Within one script, you could have multiple jobs that take place. You could daisy chain things together. You basically combine all of the pieces of the Qlik applications and the workflow to generate your reporting and distribution behavior however you want. So when I ran that report, the one other thing I wanted to show you is this is where the reports that I just ran went. And again, you've got static content that the script and the job told it to park this report out in a file location, and we created the report appending the region and appending the year. We saw that in the script of determining the title of the report. So we basically ran a batch job against region and created an individual report for each one. So that kind of concludes the scheduling and distribution product as well. So hopefully this is a good introduction to the Sense Excel offering, but also the Sense Excel reporting offering, and gives you an idea of what's possible, but also, by taking full advantage of your QlikSense platform and all of the power of the platform, the security, and the QlikSense scripting library that's available to be reused in defining your reporting jobs, but also within your report templates using things like set analysis within a discrete Excel formula. So thank you for your attention today. If you would like to reach out to me, feel free. I would be happy to do this presentation again or help drive a demo for your customers or your partners or whoever might be interested. I'm a resource that's available for enablement and education purposes. And earlier in the presentation, you saw my contact info to reach me directly if you have any questions or concerns or would like to get me involved in a deal or make you aware of one of our partners that might work in a geography close to yours. Thank you so much for your attention today. I look forward to working together with you.